Hello, everybody. So it is 12:10. We are going to go ahead and get started. So it is not going to be me presenting today. In fact, you'll actually not have to listen to me. It will be our wonderful Helpline advocate, Brittny Servello. She is also our LGBTQ plus DV and SA expert. So she is going to be presenting to you guys today, to you ladies and gentlemen, on domestic violence in the LGBTQ plus community. If you have any questions for Brittny, please feel free to throw them in the question and answer section or in the chat. I will be monitoring it and answering all questions and let her know so she can answer them as well. So Brittny, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, Brittny, it is all you.
Thanks for that introduction, Thad. Hi, everyone. I am Brittny Servello. I am the Helpline advocate here at Family Services Incorporated. My pronouns are she and her. So we will be discussing domestic violence in the LGBTQ plus community. I will tell you it is important to know that some of the information that we're going to share could be triggering. So if you need to take a moment, step away from the computer, we completely understand. These are sensitive, it's a sensitive subject, but it's definitely an important one. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. So first we're going to talk about the definition of LGBTQ+. It's definitely a broad spectrum of definitions and what people prefer to be called. So when we talk about the L, that stands for lesbian, a woman who is sexually or romantically attracted to other women. Gay, ever relating to or characterized by sexual or romantic attraction to people of the same sex, often used to refer to men only. Bisexual, characterized by sexual or romantic attraction to people of one's same sex and of the opposite sex. Transgender, or being a person whose gender identity differs from the sex the person had or was identified as having at birth. And then the term queer is one that is being utilized with the LGBTQ+. And it's an individual whose sexual orientation is not exclusively heterosexual. Typically for those who identify as queer, the term lesbian, gay, bisexual are perceived to be too limiting or feel they don't apply to them. Some may use queer or gender queer to describe their gender identity or gender expression. And then questioning. This term describes someone who is questioning their sexuality or their gender identity. There are, and we did provide the link to the side of the LGBTQ+ glossary. With the plus, there are tons of different terminology that is used and deserve the recognition if someone identifies under those categories. So we're going to be looking at the power and control wheel. If you watched our first webinar Wednesday, Thad really broke it down from the Duluth model. And when it comes to the LGBTQ+ community, it's important to know there are many similarities to the standard power and control wheel. However, it is crucial to understand the differences and how to assist clients who may be experiencing other forms of power and control. So here we're going to talk about sexual coercion and using that and how abusers could possibly use that against their victims. So that could be lying about your STI or HIV status, not sharing updated information about their HIV or STI status, and then sharing information about sexual preferences to shame you. That could be a lot when it comes to using that information to shame you, saying that you're going to tell their friends, like, this is what you like, and that at times there's sexual things that some people believe might not identify to your sexual orientation. And that's a lot of making you feel, that worthlessness and that you are not fitting into the mold of what they think your sexual orientation should be. And then economic abuse, preventing you from having a job, borrowing money, not paying it back. And that's a lot. A lot of people think, well, how can how can it be abuse if someone just wants you to stay at home, or you're a couple, you should be able to borrow money. But it is important to know that if someone wants you to be that stay-at-home partner, or they want you to depend on them, that those are signs of abuse. And now we're going to break down using intimidation, coercion, and threats. Making decisions for you regarding your gender or how out to be. So if someone, let's say someone is non-binary, where non-binary is where the male or female gender does not define someone. So they have, there are some days where they feel more masculine or more feminine, but their partner, tells them, well, you can't dress like that. You can't wear that, or you can't wear that certain shirt. So, and then saying things to reinforce homophobia, biphobic, or transphobic control. Telling someone, sorry about that, telling someone won't believe you because we are two men in a relationship, or you're a trans female. No one's going to believe what you have to say. And then the emotional abuse, questioning if you're a real man, a real mask, which is masculine, or a real woman. Saying to someone, well, you're transitioning from female to male, but you don't have any facial hair. You don't have a deep voice. No one's going to believe what you have to say. And then reinforcing their own internalized homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia. And then using privilege. Using the passing as straight or cisgendered to discredit you or put you in danger. There are couples and some partners will say, well, I don't have to worry about going out in public because I can, pass as a straight female. Sorry about that. Or I don't have to talk about, using that passing as straight or cisgender to discredit you. Because a lot of people, to take the shame from themselves, they will put it on to other people. So, you can't pass, but I can. And then misusing leadership in the LGBTQ plus community to gain people's favor. So just like in every power and control relationship, individuals want to make others look like they are the bad people, that it is not them. This person's crazy. Why would I do those things? I am well liked in the community. Why would anyone think those things about me? And then using children, threatening to tell your ex or authorities that you're gay, bi, trans to take away your children. And then using biological status as a parent against you. Well, this is my biological child. You may have been here through the entire process of the pregnancy, of the birth, but biologically, this is my child. And then blocking you out of family planning, decision-making processes, such as IVF, surrogacy, sperm donations. Those are very intimate things between partners, and you go through that entire process, but then all of a sudden someone's like, no, this is my child, this is my choice. And then threatening to out your gender identity to your children without your consent. So I kind of want to look at that for a moment. It is important if someone discloses to you their sexual orientation, their gender identity, that stays with you. It is that person's permission on whether or not you tell someone else. So we do fill out paperwork, where we ask someone their gender, and their sexual orientation. But your client, that is something that they have told you, and that is something that you should respect. And every person, that is their choice to tell someone. And then using isolation, saying no one will believe you or take you seriously because of your sexuality or gender identity, pressuring you to stop going to LGBTQ plus events, such as pride parades, or if there are outreaches in the community, trying to keep you away from, you know, everyone and making you feel like you have nowhere else to go. And then denying, minimizing, and blaming. That's making light of the abuse, saying it won't happen, saying it's your fault, saying it's just a fight between two men. Often we find survivors telling us, well, no one's going to believe me because my partner, she is a female and females don't do that. Or it's just that time of the month. That's why this happens when people are menstruating and stuff like that, and they talk about all those hormones. It does not matter whether or not it is two males, two females, a female and a trans man. Abuse is abuse. How someone feels, how someone isolates you, how they minimize what is happening, it is definitely something that needs to be recognized, and we need to have more of an inclusion in our community about. So this is, my presentation was a little shorter than what Thad's is. So this is, all our information. I answer the hotline Monday through Friday. I answer the hotline 8:30 to 4:30. And us at Family Services, we do have our inclusivity statement. All services at Family Services are available without regard to race, religion, color, age, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, socioeconomic status. The agency makes accommodations for non-English speaking residents and those individuals with sensory disabilities who are receiving services. I don't want anyone on this webinar or the information that you to take from it for someone to feel like that there's not someone here to listen. Domestic violence is prevalent in the LGBTQ plus community, and it is important for our brothers and sisters and friends, our coworkers that are part of that community, allies to that community, to know that there are services available, whether you're reaching out to me during the day or our advocates at night. We are here to listen. We see you, we believe you, and we're with you. And that is, like I said, my presentation was shorter than Thad's, but I'm definitely here to answer any questions that you possibly would have, about terminology and stuff that you see in the glossary and everything.
Hey, thank you very much, Brittany. So yes, there are 5 handouts in the bottom there for you, for any attendees. There is a domestic violence in the LGBTQ plus community, the LGBTQ plus power and control wheel, as well as a glossary, a brochure on LGBTQ plus domestic violence, as well as a pronouns glossary as well, for anybody that would like. They're all there, as well as a copy of her PowerPoint is available there for you to view and for you to take with you. If you have any questions, Brittany and I will hang out for a few minutes here. Please feel free to utilize the question or tab or the chat. If not, thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you all hopefully next week for our next webinar Wednesday. We will also be in November rolling out some more webinars on Webinar Wednesday. One of our guest speakers will actually be Emily Freed, our attorney who deals with civil legal issues. She will be talking about litigation abuse as well as what she does here at Family Services. So, like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat or the question section. We'll hang out for a few minutes. Thank you all for attending, and we hope to see you next week.